Peace talks have began, and I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy that peace talks are beginning today. Now, you might be thinking I'm talking about Israel and Iran. You might be thinking I'm talking about Ukraine and Russia. No, I'm talking about the war between Erika Kirk and Candace Owens. So we're going to be diving into this. We're going to talk a little bit about what that means. And we're going to also be continuing our conversation about Kash Patel in his first interview 33 hours after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Australia devastating incident that happened over the weekend, the mass shooting. I don't know if you guys know about that or not. Most people, I think, do know. So I'm going to be talking about sharing my thoughts as to what happened. And my job as a Black Swan connoisseur is I don't ask why. I ask about the timing. Why now? Why during Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights? Why then? Why is that the timing of it? That's always fascinating for me. So we're going to dive into it. So welcome to Black Swan Revelations.
In a dark world, remember to be the light. Welcome to Black Swan Revelations. Here is your host, the Black Swan himself, Shane.
All right. My job is to try and keep this short and concise. I'm going to try and stick to 30 minutes. This is going to be very difficult because I'm used to doing shows that are 2 hours plus. So Erika Kirk and Candace Owens have agreed to suspend live streaming, talking about each other until they have their private in-house meeting, whatever that means. Could be virtual, could be together, don't know, but they're going to have a conversation together. Erika Kirk is looking forward to it. Candace Owens is looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I don't feel good about this faction that has been created between Turning Point USA and Candace Owens. We know Candace Owens loved Charlie Kirk very much. We know Erika Kirk loved Charlie Kirk very much. Beyond that is conspiracy. Beyond that, if you start saying things like Erika is fake, look at all the rings, look at how she smiles at the wrong time, all that kind of stuff, that proves she doesn't love Charlie Kirk, then I don't know. That's just kind of going off into the weeds. Same thing with Candace Owens. If you start saying things like, because she's questioning the narrative, why did Mikey McCoy, why did he take off right away? Why did it look like he was on the phone and he didn't even see Charlie Kirk get assassinated? Why did he just take off running? That's pretty important. These are questions that Candace Owens was asking, like, why the Egyptian planes? Erika tried to answer it the other day. It was kind of murky for me. The idea that she was pregnant for most of the time when these Egyptian planes were following her around for a few years. And she admitted that she was on the plane, and then she said she wasn't on the plane. She said she was in the areas that Candace had mentioned about where these flights were. Coincidentally, wherever Erika was, these Egyptian planes were. So she said that I've been to these areas, just not at the time mentioned. And that's the thing that gets underneath Candace Owens' skin, is when you correct her by saying things like, Candace, you're wrong. It's not 9 o'clock Mountain Time. It's 9 o'clock Central Time. Therefore, ergo, you're wrong. This is what happened with Erika. She said, I've I've never been on a plane because I've been pregnant, but I've been on a plane. I've been to those areas that was mentioned, but just not at the times that was mentioned. So all of a sudden, people are like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I'm glad they're talking because it gets confucius after a while when it becomes he said, she said. And all these channels are getting all excited about what's happening with Turning Point. So I think this is a good time to have the peace talks right before Christmas. I think this is a good time to suspend mudslinging for a little bit. But I hope that out of it, there are some questions that are answered. Specifically for me, the only answer, I want a legit answer on Mikey McCoy. Why were you on the phone before Charlie Kirk? And I need to see the call logs. I need to see when you called Erika, when you called your dad. When did you think that you had blood on your hands? Because that's important. There's so many crazy things going on with that story. And then obviously you have Tyler Robinson going to court right now, and they're trying to fast track him to get executed with this fake narrative of lip reading, that they're reading his lips. And I could read lips. I'm not a professional, but I could read lips. And to me, what it sounded like was Tyler was thirsty and they didn't want to give him water during the trial because it was just a brief opening, I guess, if you will, or a brief statement that the lawyers on both sides had to introduce themselves. And Tyler was asking for water. And then he said, not even a sip. And they're like, no, like that tells me this kid is immature as well. And he didn't have the demeanor that I expected. I thought that he would be like shameful and all kinds of stuff. He's not there. It's almost like this was like a kid. When you send a kid to the office, he doesn't know why he's there fully, but he goes to the office, doesn't know if he's going to get the strap, if he's going to get suspended, doesn't know. But this Tyler, his demeanor was almost like either he thinks he's innocent or he's getting off, or he's unaware that Utah is one of the states that will actually execute you if you're guilty. And the idea that there's a fake narrative to say that he was admitting that he thinks about shooting people all the time and all this kind of stuff, that alone should put a flag up to go, why are they doing this so early? Why do they want to hide the cameras? Why do they want to have it behind closed doors? All this kind of crazy stuff. Show us the trial. Like, really, show us the trial so that we can have closure on this incident if he indeed did murder Charlie Kirk. And I think I'm on the side of Candace Owens, where I feel like he had help. If he is the lone shooter, I think he had help. I'm leaning to the side, there's no way on God's green earth that guy made the shot. There's no way. And all that. And I won't go into all the weeds of that stuff, but there's so many parts going on that I think if we had some kind of a settlement, even an agreement for Candace Owens in the future, like let's say next Monday or something, to do a podcast together, I'm telling you, the internet would just explode over that. It would absolutely explode. And one of the things that kind of stands out to me as well, and maybe it does to you guys, is the idea that Erika Kirk said that she never received any messages of death threats or anything like that, any hint that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered the next day, because she has his phone. That's what she said in her latest CBS interview over the weekend. And I watched it. And I shared it yesterday. So she says that, and then I'm not going to bring up all the footage, but there are instances where Frank Turek said, Charlie messaged me and said, I'm worried they're going to kill me. They are going to kill me. I'm worried they. And then Frank said, who are they? Erika said when she went to the hospital, I want to see what they did to my husband. Who's they? Why does they keep coming up? If you are convinced that Tyler Robinson was the lone shooter, then stop using words like they. Stop it, because you're feeding us. You're feeding us conspiracy channels with all this stuff. So she said no. Meanwhile, in an interview, she said, we've had death threats all the time. My husband has death threats. I've had death threats. My kids have kidnapping threats. This is a normal walk at the park. Every single day, this happens to us. And yet she says Charlie didn't get that. Meanwhile, Candace Owens has been on record to say that Andrew, what's his name? I want to call him Andrew Voltaire. I forget what his last name is. Colvette said that he texted her saying Charlie was worried about getting, or that Andrew got a text from Charlie saying that he thinks that he was going to be killed the next day. So Candace didn't get the direct text, but Candace was told by Andrew, which is one of the lead guys for Turning Point. What else? Almost lost my train of thought there. So the message is clear. It's loud and clear. Charlie was being threatened the day before. Security should have been at an all high. Frank Turek even asked, he says, do you have enough security? So security was a big deal in Charlie's day. While he was alive, security was a big deal. Don't believe me? Have a look at this. This is an interview Charlie did with Bill Maher, and I want to hear the beginning of this interview before they actually get started as to what's going on in both their worlds, both Bill Maher and Charlie Kirk, when it comes to the topic of security.
Charlie Kirk here.
I am here.
Kirk, reporting for duty.
That's what they call me.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Us?
Well, arguing for me.
Is there someone with you?
No, thanks for having
You're
me.
not expecting trouble, are you?
Not
You
quite,
travel with security?
unfortunately.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting, right? So Charlie Kirk says we. I think he was just talking about the camera crew being with him and all that kind of stuff, because they always have a crew with them. And so Bill asks him the questions. Do you have travel with security? And right away, Charlie says, unfortunately, yes.
Like what kind?
You know, security.
Like bodyguards?
Yeah.
You know, when I went to Europe in 2015,
Bodyguards.
I had like two Israeli bodyguards and my security person. It was right after the one of the Islamic unfortunate incidents. Was it the Paris? There was two big things at that time. Paris, right? The
What year was this?
2015.
Okay, so that would have been the Charlie Hebdo situation.
Hebdo certainly was the year
if I-
before.
Charlie, isn't that the guy that wrote some kind of a cartoon, which might be interesting to explore, about making fun of Muhammad or whatever, and he was they're trying to get rid of him. And it's interesting that Bill Maher has two Israeli bodyguards protecting him. So Israel is known to provide a service for protecting celebrities, political personnel as well. So right away we get a tie with Israel, that this is what they do. This is what they provide. They provide protection. Maybe I'll talk about a little bit about that. It's interesting, right?
if I'm recalling, yes.
I think, and then there was
the
this-
tolerant Muslim. You know,
Yes,
yeah.
and you know, I've been very.
You've been extraordinary on that.
Thank you. So like we were like extraordinary to you, but we were like very, and like I pictured this. I never toured Europe before as a comic, you know, and there are places you can where they speak English. It was fun, but it also made it a vacation. I took my girl I was with at the time. I pictured this bucolic, beautiful European springtime vacation. Of course, it was wedged between the two giant Israeli bodyguards the whole way.
If you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing. I'll tell you.
Exactly. So it was not the vacation.
Interesting. If you want a good bodyguard, a true bodyguard, the Israelis know what they're doing. Let me see if they say anything else about this here.
I planned, but well, I'm sorry that you have to do that, but that's the price of fame. And boy, I mean, man, you're everywhere. You're like the new it boy of podcasts. No, it's true.
We have different jihadis that want to kill me. The purple-haired jihadis, the woke guys.
Well, they kill me. They want to kill me just as bad.
Probably.
Oh, they really do.
No, you've been very outspoken on the woke stuff. Big time.
Yes. I mean, and they.
Isn't this a bizarre conversation? That, like, I'm talking about the world that we live in. That this is a thing. That once you get to a certain amount of fame, that you need bodyguards, and you need people to protect you. Because why do you need a bodyguard as a comedian? Well, it's because there are people on the left, arguably, that will try to hurt you because you say something that hurts their feelings. And I remember Ben Shapiro always being on record as saying facts don't have feelings and all this kind of stuff. And he would go against transgender people, all this kind of stuff, and speak out against them. So it's interesting that if Candace Owens says something, that Ben Shapiro kind of has a problem with that. It's weird because Ben has been on record to say things against the grain as well on campuses. He had to have bodyguards on campus. Otherwise, the left would have taken him out a long time ago. And I find it sad that even with people that you agree or don't agree with, that they need bodyguards on American soil, let alone Europe as well. Like it's a crazy world that we live in, folks. It's crazy. I think that's all he's talking about here. Like, I don't think they're talking anymore about security. One sec.
Just the way within a religion, they hate their own apostates more. I would say they hate me more because I'm supposed to like get on the short bus to Crazy Town with them, and I won't. And yet I'm still a liberal and still like, I mean, we probably could argue all day about Donald Trump and what he's doing, which I'm not down with. But it's always the people who are closest who think, oh gosh, you shouldn't have. You're a traitor somehow.
I was going to ask, is it because they thought you were one of them, and that
I am one of them? They're not one of me. I'm okay. It's the liberal.
That's interesting. Okay, we'll stop there for that. But it's interesting that, again, there's a common theme here. Those closest to you can betray you. We don't have to go very far to Jesus Christ. We think of Judas as an evil guy right out of the gate, that Jesus picked someone evil right out of the gate. In Psalms, I believe this was dictated by Jesus to King David, saying that if it was an enemy, I can understand, I can deal with it, I can handle it. But Jesus said, I'm paraphrasing, that it was from a friend, which is harder to take. If you can get anything out of what I'm trying to say here, betrayals are harder to take with people that are closer to you in your inner circle than it is to take from someone that's your enemy. It's way easier to take a blow from your enemy because you're expecting them to attack you. It's harder to get stabbed in the back. It's that is more painful because it's usually from a spouse, a significant other, a close relative, someone that you thought had your back. Those are painful. So Charlie kind of hinted at that idea that it's usually people on the same side that try and take you out because they thought you were on their team. And then the second they realize you're not on their team, like Bill Maher says, I haven't changed. They changed teams. I'm still the same team. They changed. And that's what happens. If, and I think this is what happened to Charlie, because his opinion was so strong that they felt he's not on our team anymore. We got to take him out. could be inside, all kinds of stuff. Like we may never know. So I'm glad that Candace Owens and Erika Kirk are going to talk about this. I hope we get some closure on that to be able to for them to be on the same page. We don't know. The war can commence tomorrow for all we know. Right. So let's talk a little bit about Kash Patel and a little bit about some of the weird stuff that went on during his first press conference. And I'm just going to bring it up real quick here. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because, again, we're already at the 20-minute mark. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes, but I'm quickly realizing this is not going to work. I'm going to have to be between 30 minutes and 60 minutes. And I hope you guys are okay with that because it takes a little bit to unpack some of this stuff. So here's Kash Patel. All right, this is Kash Patel 33 hours after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So I'm going to play it in its entirety, and I'm going to try not to stop it because it's only 6 minutes long. And I want to give you guys context, and then we can talk about it real quick.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed.
Okay, just keep in mind that this was an assassination. We didn't know very much detail. At the time of Charlie Kirk's shooting, I went live 15 or 16 minutes after Charlie Kirk was shot. Didn't know what happened. Didn't know if it was a mass shooting. Didn't know if there was one person. Didn't know anything. All we knew is somebody was arrested at the front, and it was some old guy saying, "I'm pleading the fifth. I'm pleading the fifth. I'm pleading the fifth." That's all we knew.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie.
Okay, that 33-hour thing keeps coming up. Again, I said I wasn't going to cut this off, but I think it's important. And look at the guy on the right there. He's kind of staring. Some of these guys, they need to take lessons on how to do a press conference because they're just weird. It's almost like these guys are like some kind of hybrid. They're either half robot, half machine, half Nephilim. I don't know what's going on here, but these guys just don't know how to relax at a press conference. Like, they're just weird. It's a weird vibe. And so this 33-hour thing keeps popping up, and we'll talk about that maybe in another episode or whatever, but I want to get through this 6-minute interview.
Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39.
Okay, 16 minutes. We're going to come back to this. Remember this. Put this on the shelf. 16 minutes.
And secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then,
hang on to that he says 9/11. Hold on to that. He keeps saying that, which kind of confuses the timeline because Charlie Kirk actually got murdered on September 10th, but he keeps using September 11th. I understand that this press conference, this briefing is on September 11th, but it could be confusing to people watching this down the road.
Shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor...
There it is again, 9/11. I was thinking that was September 10th that he arrived, but it kind of sounded like it was the next day on September 11th. So a whole day and a half after this, which... Again, the timeline seems weird. I'm pretty sure they arrived at night on September 10th, and he's saying September 11th. So I have to go back and double check that.
At a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect.
So he said last night, which is September 10th, we released new footage, new videos, new whatever, images, photos, whatever. But he said at 5:30 on September 11th. So he's mixing up his dates. Again, not a deal breaker, but if you're the head guy of the FBI, you got to be precise.
And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the...
So this must have been, like, again, it's confusing. This must have been just a couple of days after, because he's like last night, and then he said September 11th, and then he said we arrested him 33 hours last night, not today. So I don't know. This is confusing to me.
The federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime...
Let's hang on to that transparency thing. So fast, so transparent. It's interesting that at the beginning of an investigation, you're so transparent. You're so thankful to the media, to the public. But later, if you're trying to ask questions like, well, we don't want to taint the investigation. We don't want to taint the jury. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that mentioned. Let's not taint the jury. But yet here at the beginning is, hey, thank you for all your videos and all your pictures. We couldn't have done it without the public. Done what? You arrested Tyler Robinson. There's your justice, is what you said. You said that was justice because of the public and the media. And we're asking questions today about how you quickly erased the DNA and everything from the crime scene. Like basically you paved over everything. Why? Why so quick? You said you secured it 16 minutes later. You secured that whole area. I was watching the footage, the live stream for 16 minutes. There were people all over the place contaminating. That whole area was contaminated. You want to talk about contaminating the jury? You allowed people to contaminate the whole murder scene.
Just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver it to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 interviews.
I always get a little bit nervous when somebody in high authority does this stuff, Because to me, it's like when your nose starts watering and all this kind of stuff, unless you have allergies from eggnog and coffee, dairy, it's weird that people are like, that tells me, again, we're talking about body language, that you're lying when you do this kind of stuff. Now my nose is itchy. Now I done it. I done it to myself. Now my nose is itchy. But that's what happens when you're watching people, and as soon as they start saying things about times and dates and stuff, and they start going like this, I'm like, you're lying about something. There's something off with this. Let me just back up a little bit.
Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running
7,000 leads, and then now 11,000 leads. That's a lot. That's a lot. When you think you got the guy, that's a lot of leads. What I'm hoping from those 11,000, that 10,000 of those leads are saying, I saw him shoot, I saw him crouch down, I saw him jump down, all this stuff. So far, I haven't heard any of that stuff. I haven't heard any. If anything, we had a sole witness that said, I didn't see him shoot. He had tactical gear on. It's kind of weird. Didn't look anything like Tyler Robinson.
out every single lead that we can. Every one of those
No,
leads
my
will
nose
be
is
run out.
itchy.
The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great, and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI.
Does it kind of feel like they solved the case within 33 hours? Like this is a slam dunk. We're done here. Thanks to the public. Thanks to you guys pushing us to be more transparent and all this kind of stuff. Doesn't it feel like this is a closed deal? Weird.
I answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime.
As long as it takes to apprehend whatever suspects, as long as it takes. That's interesting. I didn't know there are any other suspects. So now it kind of sounds like there could be more suspects. I don't know. It's weird, man.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Okay, that's a weird thing to say. All right, so that's it. That's not professional to say, we'll see you, my brother, in Valhalla. That's a weird thing to say. It smells funny when you say things like that. It smells really weird. I get a weird vibe. My spider senses are tingling when he says stuff like that. That's just weird. You don't, if you're the FBI director, you don't say stuff like that. All right. It seems like an overreach to dispatch mixed assets, to be there within 16 minutes. I've heard people say that, oh, they were close by. Well, you have traffic and all kinds of stuff. Like it takes me sometimes 15 minutes plus just to get across downtown Cochrane. It's a small town. Now you have people panicked and all this stuff. Like there's no way you're going to be there unless you perhaps, and I'm leaning, perhaps knew that something like this could happen. And that's why you had FBI agents there. Otherwise, why have it? It's just an event. You don't deploy FBI agents at every single event unless you're aware or you've been tipped off that maybe something is going to happen. So I hope we get to the bottom of this. Again, Patel said, hey, appreciate you, the public, asking questions, forcing us to be transparent. Great. Thank you. We're going to continue asking the tough questions. Okay, let's go on to what happened in Australia this past weekend. Devastating. During the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah, a bunch of Jews were shot and killed, terrorized, attacked by a couple of gunmen, a father and son gunmen. So we're just going to look and see what happened with that. All right, so this was earlier. 12 killed in the Bondi terror attack, Bondi, Australia. My sister actually lives. I have another sister that lives in Australia. I have one, obviously. I have two that live here in Alberta. I have another sister that lives in Turks and Caicos. My sisters are kind of spread throughout the planet. But this is about 6 hours from my other sister, Nadine. So maybe, who knows, maybe one day I'll get her to be on my show and she can fill me in a little bit on what's going on in Australia. But at this time of this interview or this press conference or this news report, I should say, there's been more people killed since then. I think it's as high as like 15 or 16 people. So let's just play this.
Him, the gentleman who raced into the scene to disarm one of the gunmen. We're just learning some details about him because he has been shot. Now
So that's the guy that actually wrestled, I believe, wrestled the gun away from. I don't think this is the bad guy. I think he's because there was a guy in white that actually wrestled a gun away from one of the guys that was shooting. They I think they look a little bit alike, but let's just watch this here.
confident in saying that is him. One of his relatives has just spoken to one of our reporters. We've got an interview coming in. We understand that this gentleman's name is Ahmed Al Ahmed. He's a 43-year-old married father of two.
So yeah, so that's the guy that he got shot from the other guy that was on a roof, looked like a concrete staircase where so you have two gunmen. One is the dad, one's the son. I think this guy that got tackled was the son, and this hero basically stopped this guy from potentially killing more people. It's insane.
And he raced in to help. We understand, apparently owns a fruit shop in Sutherland. No experience with guns. He was just walking past. We are told that
and right there, I think maybe he got shot. Not sure, because he reaches for his back. I'm not sure, because I know this guy that just fell down, I thought he got shot as well, but I'm not sure. But the guy on the walkway, the overpass, he was shooting at this guy at this moment.
he has 2 bullets in his arm, but they think he's going to be okay. And in the next hour, let's have a listen to the hero's relatives talking about his acts this evening at Bondi Beach.
Still, he's in the hospital, and we don't know exactly what's going inside. But they said the doctor, he's very okay. And next 2 hours, they let us to go in and see Ahmed, because he's still inside, and he do the operation. But we hope he will be fine. He's a hero, 100%. He's a hero, because what we see on the social media, he's 100% hero.
To his shoulder?
Yeah, he have 2 shots, one in his arm here and one in his hand.
And have you been able to talk to him today?
So his name is Ahmed, and he was shot twice, and he's a hero. And I would say yes, hero. To do what he did is absolutely amazing.
No, no, because I come when I see the what's happening,
All right, let's just finish this here.
and I come here to see him, but they said it's not allowed to go inside.
Okay. All right, so there's security concern. Let's go to this little piece here.
Yeah, good morning.
What's going
Yeah,
on?
we are starting to learn much more about the victims of this senseless attack. We now have names and faces to 9 of those 15.
16 dead. Horrible. And a 10-year-old. 2 respected rabbis, Holocaust survivor dead. Yeah, my understanding is there were a bunch of Jews partaking in the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah, the beginning of Hanukkah, which goes, I believe, all the way to December 25th, I believe. So it's just a weird time to do this. Like, not surprising from the perspective of somebody's always trying to attack Jews, but surprising from like how methodical this is to do it on the Festival of Lights. It's weird.
Innocent lives lost, and we should go through them. You just mentioned her there, but 10-year-old Matilda, her family has described her as a ray of sunshine. Then we've got the Bondi rabbi, Ali Schlanger. We heard from supporters and friends of his yesterday that it left a massive hole in the Jewish community here in Bondi. French engineer Dan Alkheim, he was a very kind man, according to his family, who loved soccer, and he was loving his life here in Australia. Very sad. The devoted husband, Tibu Whiteson, as well, he tried to shield his wife from the hail of bullets that came down on the foreshore here on Bondi on Sunday night. Very fortunately, she survived. Another rabbi, Yaakov Leviathan, as well, businessman and philanthropist.
And horrible, horrible stuff. Like, I know there's going to be, I'm going to watch some more footage down the road because I've watched the original, what happened and all this kind of stuff, but I'm kind of curious as to maybe why this was done. Who are these people that actually did this? Because it's absolutely horrifying to have a place like Australia or anywhere really where you're just celebrating a holiday and then these guys are firing shots. And I'm not going to show the footage of people of these guys shooting at people just out of respect for the people that actually got killed until we know a little bit more about the story and all this kind of stuff. But I don't want to make it like a graphical kind of a video where we're watching all that stuff. Even with Charlie Kirk, you probably noticed when I showed, I wasn't the guy right out of the gate that was showing stuff. I didn't even, to this day, I still haven't seen the complete unedited of Charlie Kirk. I've seen little slow-mos and that kind of stuff from news outlets where they blur everything, but I didn't go on TikTok and all these other places to try and find the crazy stuff because I'm not into that. I get a little squeamish when it comes to that kind of thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of that, and I don't want to turn my channel into that, but it's important to know why these people are doing these crazy things, and it's important to talk about it. You don't need to see the blood, you don't need to see the gore and all this kind of stuff. Some people get off on that kind of stuff. That's not this channel. I always like to figure out why people do things, why they do this kind of crazy stuff. That's it for today's video. Tomorrow we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Candace Owens, Erika Kirk war in regards to what happened after their private meeting. Was it good? Was it bad? Did it go over well? And again, if Candace does decide to do a live show today, I will talk about that tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow morning. I'll see, either tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. So lots coming down the week. I think we're just getting started. We're just getting ramped up. Now things are going to start getting crazy leading into the new year. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow, the Lord willing. Bye for now.